All right, guys, welcome back. You're here with Traversal ENT. It's been a minute, guys, but I'm here with a big one, yeah? This one is called Boxing Reform 2022. That's correct, guys, because to get a reform in boxing, you need at least 10 to 12 months to fully bring in the reform. Boxing Reform 2022. Let's talk about it, guys. Plug in. Right? And before we say anything, make sure you hit the subscribe button straight out the gate. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. I'm stuck on 74. God knows why. I'm trying to push it. Really trying to hit 100 this month to be by the end of the month. That's the goal. So help me get to that. That'll be much appreciated, guys. So let's get straight to it, right? So the Boxing Reform 2022. Now, guys, let me start off by saying this. Sports like UFC, the MMAs of this world, they've overtaken boxing. And to be honest with you guys, considering the sort of history boxing has, that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. How on earth has a combat sport come in and taken over boxing? Like, what I mean, it's taken over as in that it's a bigger sport. It's mad. Do you know why? Because boxing needs major reform. And that's what we're here to talk about. The guys that are here to bring in the reform and the changes that are going to be made, guys, yeah? This is what we need to talk about. Now, understand what my involvement is with all of this. My involvement is to bring that dossier forward to these individuals, yeah? So without further ado, let's get straight to it, right? So the players involved are none other than these individuals. Number one, Eddie Hearn from the UK, right? We all know who Eddie Hearn is, promoter from the UK. He's done some work in the United States, trying to break the market over there. Good luck to him on that. But we need guys like Eddie Hearn. Why? Because Eddie Hearn is a man of connections. He's a man of resources. And he's just really well connected like that. To bring about a major change and a major reform, you need Eddie Hearn on board, in my personal opinion. Second individuals to be on board with this is, or to try and get on board on this, is Simon Denier and John Skipper. These are the CEOs of the zone. We need both these individuals on board too. They have the capital, and you need major capital. Eddie Hearn on his own will not be able to bring in these new changes that we need to see in boxing, right? And guys, the last person I've got as an individual that needs to be on board on it, because this person's very innovative. He's the guy with ideas and he's ballsy with it. He also has similar type of resources and capital to Eddie Hearn or anyone else in the United Kingdom, especially, right? Now, we know Simon Denier and John Skipper don't live in the UK. You don't have to be UK to be able to bring this in. It's not a UK thing. It's boxing overall, right? But Calais Sowland is the last person that I've got in the document that I'm going to put together, guys. And I will eventually release that document, make it available for you lot to read it in its entirety. My plan is to get that document to these individuals that I've just named, right? Now, the ones that will be easy to get to is guys like Eddie Hearn, because I don't live very far from Mr. Hearn, right? I do not live very far from Mr. Hearn at all, right? So I could, and I don't live, Matchroom headquarters, I could get the document to them quite easily. Calais Sowland, another person I could probably get hold of. Obviously, Simon Denier and John Skipper, they're out of my reach. Now, for all you United States, what's his name? Al Haymon fans, I am not including Al Haymon in this dossier because Al Haymon has witnessed all the rubbish that's happening in boxing. And to be honest with you, yeah, he tried to do the PBC model on TV, but in terms of other types of reforms, he's seen it, he's witnessed it, and it's just gone along. He hasn't really done anything about it to bring about a change. So for me, I don't really want individuals like that. I want individuals who want a change and who I believe will be prepared to usher it in. All right, so that's why Al Heyman's not been included. Don't misunderstand me. If he was to jump on board, that'd be great, but I'm just not going to include him necessarily. All right. So what are the changes and what are the reforms 2022 that need to come to boxing? 3 areas that we're going to look at. There's probably many more, but I'm only going to consider 3, guys. Number 1, sanctioning body. That's right, sanctioning bodies. Number 2, weight class. And number 3, tournaments. Now, within these 3, there's other things. You've got sub-categories that we'll look at too. First one, with the sanctioning body, we can all agree that a new governing body needs to exist that's going to come and oversee matters regarding commitments, fighters, mandatories, number 1 contenders, and some sort of reprimand for fights that gets delayed, etc., etc. Title stripping, etc. Right? Because the current governing bodies we've got with the WBO, the IBF, the WBC, guys, all these belts, WBA, I said IBO, right? All these belts, they need to go. They absolutely need to go. Let's have a look at the most prestigious belt, the WBC. What is the WBC known for? If you ask the majority of people, they probably wouldn't tell you world boxing anything. They'll tell you we be crooks. How could the most prestigious belt in boxing have be recognized like that? We be crooks. The corruption in boxing is absurd, absolutely absurd, right? Now, belts such as the silver belt, the diamond belt, and all these other belt franchise champions and all these other belt, that really does undermine the sanctioning body as a whole, and the belt starts to look less and less important, guys. So, with the arrival of a new sanctioning body, will come the arrival of new belts. That's correct, guys. 2 new belts per weight class, right? Now, the whole idea of 2 new belts per weight class is to bring enough prestige to these belts so that the old belts start to look old and they look outdated, and fighters will start fighting for these new belts. And why wouldn't they? If I'm a boxer and there's a new belt that I can fight for with a new governing body, I'm gonna jump on that. Why would I not? Why would I not do that? Now, I've got ideas and proposals for these belts. I'm thinking, I mean, these can always be tweaked, right? But we definitely need an MVB title in boxing. The most valuable boxer within the weight class. We need an MVB belt and a Supreme title in boxing as well. For the Supreme, be it a Supreme Heavyweight Champion, Supreme whatever, whichever weight class we're talking about, right? So that's the first reform that needs to happen. We need a new governing body, one with integrity, and they must operate with some form of high level of transparency. They need to have what do you call it? Their we need to know how these governing bodies are operating. All right, so they need to have what do you call it? The word's gone out of my head, but I'll come back to it. Right, we need to understand how these governing bodies are operating, and we need transparency within these governing bodies so they can be held accountable, right? Moving on. Second thing about weight class, right? So with the whole weight class situation, once upon a time, boxing only had 8 weight classes. Today we've got about 10, 11, maybe even more, right? Now, weight classes such as bridger weight and stuff like that, personally, I don't like the idea of them. I think they should remove them, right? But that's up to the governing body or the sanctioning body, the new arrival of the sanctioning body. They can probably decide whether they're going to sanction certain weight classes or not for their belts, right? Now, what I do say about the sanctioning body, one of their major tasks will be, in my opinion, there needs to be a cap on rehydrations and stuff like that, and catch weights. They need to look into catch weights and rehydrations and really regulate those things properly so that fighters can't go into different weight classes and just disadvantage another fighter by ensuring that they come in weighing God knows what. Guys like Canelo does it a lot, and there's many fighters who do that a lot. They rehydrate crazy and they look ridiculously big come fight night. There needs to be a cap off on rehydration. There needs to be some form of regulation when it comes to catch weights as well. This is all included when I say weight classes. Whether they feel to open up a new one or not, that's up to the sanctioning body, guys. That's up to them, right? So that's another reform, another area of reform that needs to happen is in the area of weight class, guys. Now understand, when you start to polish up these areas that I'm talking about, boxing will become revived. Boxing will become, what's the word? It'll be born again, so to speak, guys. Boxing needs a revival. It needs a facelift. 100%. There's no way UFC. I mean, you got to look at models that other organizations have taken, take the best from it, look at what you had, and keep the good of what you've got, fix up on the BS that you've got also, right? Boxing needs to do a little chop, nip, and tuck. It needs a facelift, guys. Real talk. With the arrival of the 2021, we want to see changes. We know we're living in a new normal now. What better time to usher it in and work on these projects for the whole 12 months so that you can usher it in 2022. Let's look at the final area that boxing absolutely needs. And this is where guys like Calais Sauerland comes into play, because I don't understand why this sort of stuff doesn't happen a lot more frequently in combat sport. Water break, guys. Got to keep my throat hydrated. You know, I had a sore throat last week. I'm trying to stay hydrated this week, right? So, now when it comes to tournaments, there needs to be 2 tournaments per year every year. 2 tournaments per year that needs to be ushered in. The tournaments could be arranged by the sanctioning body. Tournaments can be arranged by promoters, I suppose. Whoever, I don't know how they go about it. Obviously, promoters can definitely do it, but the sanctioning body could also have it in place so that fighters then feel they got an even playing field to make a name for themselves and to be compensated accordingly with a good purse or a good paycheck, because they are prize fighters at the end, and also they can be awarded with recognition by picking up a title at the end of these tournaments. Tournaments like the Super 6 tournament was an excellent tournament. Yeah, it had its logistical issues, but it was a good idea. Why? Because each fighter was guaranteed to have at least 3 fights, meaning the possibility of them of getting redemption if they lost was always there for them. That was one of the good things with the Super 6 format, right? The tournament there. But also, the World Boxing Super Series was also quite a successful thing, in my personal opinion. A lot of pluses can be taken from that. There needs to be 2 tournaments, right? 2 each year that fighters can engage in on all different weight classes, and they can, like I said, they can come out rewarded financially. They can get their pay at the end of it or during it, however it works. They can get recognition with titles, and they can also get an opportunity to prove where they stand on the rankings, guys. This is important because this is how you can legitimately rank fighters at the same time, and it's not done by favoritism or any form of connection or any racial attachments, but it's only done through current results, right? 2 tournaments per year is an absolute must. Absolute must, guys. Now I'm gonna keep this video light. I'm not gonna go in and in and in and in because I am trying to prepare this document. As I said, it's a dossier that I'm gonna have in its entirety, very detailed. I'm just giving you the framework at the moment, but it's gonna be very detailed, and I guarantee you, I will be presenting it to the individuals I've just told you about. Like I said, I don't live far from some of these guys, right? I know how to get access to these individuals. Even if it's a conversation or I put it through the letterbox, they're going to get hold of this documentation, right? Because boxing needs these reforms if boxing is to become the sport it's to become. Now, Eddie Hearn mentioned something when he was interviewed. He said he would like to take Matchroom to a whole new level. Well, maybe that is what he needs to do. Let Matchroom be what it is, but get involved in something bigger than Matchroom. Get involved in the creation of a new sanctioning body and in the reform of boxing so that the sport can look different and that the sport can have real structure and not just as and when a fight happens, that's when it happens. We don't know how often the fighter is going to fight. If you've got a tournament going on, who isn't going to participate? Loads of fighters are going to want to be in there. Guys like Ryan Garcia would love an idea like that because you know how he likes to challenge people. Guys like Dillian White. There's a lot of fighters. Big up to guys like Andre Ward who won tournaments, Callum Smiths and Usyk who won tournaments. Look, Usyk got big because he won a tournament. Callum Smith was just a British fighter, but when he won the tournament, his name became bigger. Andre Ward got even bigger after the Super 6 tournament. So, guys, these things are necessary. The former belts need to go, but the only way that's going to happen is with the arrival of 2 new titles in boxing. The MVB and maybe the Supreme title, call it what you want. These are ideas. Be done with a diamond belt, silver belt, and all the other stuff that's out there, the franchise and God knows how many other ones they've got. New dawn, it's a new time. We want to see new things happen in boxing. Traversal ENT putting out this video for you guys. That's what it is. Share the content. Talk about it, guys. I want to see your comments down below what you lot think about some of these suggestions. But I will be presenting it, guys. And I will take real live videos of me actually presenting these ideas with these individuals that I'm talking about. Signing out for ENT. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. I'm out.